Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meosha and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hektor the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I am Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker, Michael Parker, playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. If you can even believe it, dear listeners, we're joined once again for a tale of epic fantasy. We've got some downtime here in the beautiful, sprawling metropolis of Everspring and other places that Zurabak likes to hang out. A little bit of rare free time between missions. Let's just fucking get to it. When last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, and the lawman Ruger Firehide were in the city of Everspring, briefing the conspiracy on their tussle with the Dragon Kesk, leveling up, getting some serious cash to spend on new equipment, and receiving their own personal armies, along with cohorts. Highly skilled, powerful companions to act as their second in command for their new fucking armies that they have. They have armies, y'all. It's wild. You have retrieved all of the components you need to cast the spell that will allow you to end the Glyph Purge and fix the world. You are waiting only for the Cypher Golem Skull to be completed in order to read the spell from the Stricken's Grimoire, and until then you're in a bit of a holding pattern. You are told by the conspiracy, the ruling powers here in Everspring, working with you behind the scenes, that they anticipate an attack on the city at basically any time. Your enemies proving very skilled at surprise attacks and have set to work reinforcing the defenses of Everspring. All this time, refugees are pouring in to the city. Not only new waves of elves found out in the remnants of the Springvale Forest who are joining the community at Lakeside, but also folks from the Raging Sands, folks from the Freeholds, folks from the Briar Marsh, even the Gatekeeper Barbarians, and the Druid Circle of the Serpent. The city of Everspring is bustling with these new arrivals, the rainbow-colored roads packed with refugees teeming into the town, and there are more soldiers, more city guards, more night scriveners patrolling the streets than ever, and several broad plazas that once held musicians, jugglers, are now taken over by soldiers performing drills and marches, preparing for an incoming attack. You all have free run over this new, this newly reborn city of Everspring, still the sprawling metropolis, but now preparing for an incursion. And I'd like to know how you all spend your free time. I can't think of any more fair way to do this than to just have y'all roll initiative right now, and we'll see who gets to go first.
Pass.
Classic.
Okay.
15.
21. That's a nat 20 on the dice.
Excellent. Rilla, what'd you get?
For fucking initiative.
Narrative initiative, no less.
It's always wasted on something like that. I got a 10.
Okay. Hektor, then Ruger, then Rilla, but since Zurabak accessed the cheat code by abstaining from this roll, Zurabak gets to go first. Zurabak, you've been spending your time
I
while
mean,
you're...
as long as I don't gotta open my character sheet, it's fine.
Depends on if you want to, stab something or not.
It's just, it's a high number, and we'll be fine.
Zurabak, you have spent your time while your companions are in the city of Everspring. You've been spending your time at your keep, the Devourer's Keep, your stronghold on the Isle of Niho in the Ashen Islands, bestowed upon you by your not sister, Queen Letitia. And last time you made some serious modifications to your lair, this low-slung, pitch-black stone keep on a sulfurous volcanic island in the pounding surf of the Ashen Isles. You have a flowing lava wall. You have a sculpture garden full of statues of you, your castellan, Pretty Polly, your groundskeeper, Mrs. Fisher, and your herald, Cedric. And you also have a gator pit in your keep as well. No one is bothering you with the tedium of going on missions for a while. You've got, I'll just tell you, a few weeks. What do you spend your time doing? Do you have any projects you'd like to pursue? Any NPCs you'd like to converse with? What kind of stuff are you getting up to in your free time?
Well, if no one's bothering him, he's gonna bother other people.
That sounds like a Zurabak thing to do. And who is Zurabak trying to bother?
Let's bother his not sister.
Okay. You have established a very convenient portal from your island right into the newly constructed throne room of your not sister, Queen Letitia Skull Splitter. A lovely potted plant. So yeah, you get up one morning and stride into the potted palm tree just inside the wrought iron gate of your keep. And using teleport via plants, you step out of a potted palm tree in the throne room of your sister. She is in the heart of her new palace, which is being carved even now out of the volcanic glass left behind from the riotous eruption you all helped trigger. And she looks up at you in surprise, sitting in her throne, beautifully carved out of onyx, resplendent in a gown lined with bones. Duke Zurabak,
Yep.
what brings you to my throne room?
I just, bored.
Boredom is terrible.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that bitch who needs to drink lava. Want to find her with me?
You want to hunt Conflagration, the leader of the Knights of the Pyre?
And then make her drink lava. Yes.
I fucking hate her.
Yeah. She's not great.
I'll drive. She gets up out of her throne, the bones on her dress clacking together like a grim xylophone, and she swishes past you out the door of her throne room and out the new portcullis of her newly carved castle, which looks like a giant skull. And standing right outside this portcullis is an enormous red and black feathered bird the size of a small cottage, a rock. A terribly large bird of prey stands still, awaiting her arrival. And as she swishes up to it, it bends down low to let her climb up on its back.
Yeah, I got a shark idling out in the bay. His name's Bitey.
Do you know where to start looking?
Oh. Wait. You got a pool of water around here?
I am the queen of the Ashen Islands. I have every pool of water around here. And she gets off this bird and walks like 3 steps away and waves her hand, and the stone at her feet, the volcanic stone of this island, rises up and forms a natural bowl in front of her. She waves her hand again, and a small storm cloud appears in front of her, shooting a tiny bolt of lightning, and it drops a deluge of rain into this basin that she's just formed in front of you. It says, "Will this work?"
Yeah, that'll do.
What do you do, Zurabak?
I'm going to cast Greater Scrying.
Ooh, tell me all about it.
It's effectively the same thing as Scrying, except it's a standard action and lasts an hour per level. And you can cast all the other detect spells through it reliably.
Very cool. Rad. So this is potentially long-term surveillance is now at your disposal.
Horrifying, no.
I dig it. So you're going to try to cast Scry on Conflagration, the leader of the Knights of the Pyre?
Greater Scrying.
Greater Scrying, of
It's
course.
a 7th level spell.
Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah, you hover over this pool of water that your not sister has crafted in front of her, and you intone some arcane syllables and wave your hands over it. What is the saving throw I have to roll for this very powerful scrying spell?
Not high, but let's see. 10, 15, 20, 22.
That's pretty high.
It could be higher.
It could always be higher. It's 3.5. You wave your hands over this pool of water, and it ripples, and a picture does come into view. You see Conflagration come into view in the rippling waters beneath your palms. A tall, tan woman, completely bald, wearing a gorgeous, flowing red and orange gown with a high collar fanning behind her head made to look like roiling flames. She is pacing through what looks like some sort of old stone structure. It looks like sort of a weird like gazebo. It's got a roof and these tall pillars, but it's open to the air. And there are clouds of sand blowing through this structure all around her, flowing her skirts everywhere. And she is pacing nervously back and forth in front of a few rows of armored knights who are all standing at attention. They look a bit like an honor guard. That's what she's doing.
Well,
That is what you see.
I see sand. I only know one place with sand.
I hate the desert. No volcanoes.
We can make one.
God, I hate this show.
Well, Bitey's not gonna get you all the way there. Come on, we'll go on Beaky.
Alright, probably should pick up Snake. I did just sort of leave him there.
Hurry up.
Oh, let's scare the crap out of him. Just swoop in and grab him.
You climb up behind Queen Letitia and you wing over the volcanic islands that she calls home, the great wings of this enormous bird beating against the air with a cacophony of feathers ruffling, and you soar through the skies, banking around giant clouds of ash from steaming vents. And you swoop down onto your island of Niho, Queen Letitia's giant bird catching Snake in its talons harmlessly. And you turn towards the mainland to fly over the raging sands in pursuit of your prey. Very cool. Let's move on down the list here. So Hektor the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. Hektor.
Hi.
Hey, you're in the city of Everspring. You have a couple weeks of free time. No one's bothering you to go on any missions, but the town is getting onto a war footing. You have an army and a cohort. What would you like to do with your free time?
So, Hektor mainly helps to get accommodations set up for all the incoming refugees. But once a lot of the gate crashers start getting there...
do you mean gatekeepers?
That's what I said, though.
It is. Absolutely.
And it's not recorded as something different for everyone to hear. That's not...
Yeah, listeners, if you heard gate crashers, you sound crazy right now, okay? You sound nuts.
And there's a weird glitch in this episode. If you rewind, it will glitch that audio, so it will sound different the second time. Anyway, once the gatekeepers get there,
Yes.
we will alternate our time between like training as a unit, and I will send gatekeepers to help with like building reinforcements to the walls.
Fantastic. That's great. As this influx of refugees come in, you utilize your leadership skills honed in the halls of Giant's Rest to take charge of some of the organization, trying to find places for everyone to stay, trying to distribute food, and just kind of keep track of everyone coming into town. When you can't write shit down, pretty hard to do. So having more people help out with that is a huge help. There's some creative uses of magic mouth spells to label signposts and busy intersections and give new people directions and stuff like that. And once the gatekeepers and the druids arrive in town, you finally assemble your army composed mainly of gatekeepers and bards. And your men and women and non-binary individuals go out and assist with the planning of and the construction of a defensive perimeter around the city, which is very well built, and the extra manpower is certainly appreciated, as there's now a literal army of powerfully muscled barbarians lifting lumber and masonry and giving expert counsel on the construction of defenses. Your father is taking a large hand in this as well.
Great. And then on a more, that's sort of the broad strokes, and Hektor is of course also continuing to do like one-on-one spar training with Ruger and or Ivan Eightfinger. To, get used to fighting one-handed.
Absolutely.
But on a more specific task, as far as helping to get all the refugees accommodated, Hektor is going to try to plan a like community event. You know, when the elves got here, we did something very like culturally significant to help welcome them. So for gatekeepers, I was thinking like a pub crawl.
That sounds like a delightful idea. Fantastic. Yeah, you want to organize an Everspring pub crawl for the new folks in town?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. There are a couple of bars in Everspring. The three biggest bars in town are the Crooked Stool, which you're very familiar with, the Flying Crown, and the Liar, which is Liar, as in someone fucking lying.
No, Sam, it's not spelled at all.
Damn.
Son of a bitch.
Wow.
You know, I try really hard not to get caught up on this shit because it's my lore, but you know, it's hard. I play other games than this podcast, and I forget that like you can read shit in other D&D games. We've been doing this for so long. I've poisoned my fucking brain. It's like you find a scroll. I don't give a shit. Oh wait, no, we can read. Fuck. Oh God. It's like that's my homebrew's wrecked my life.
Yep. And we'll continue for
anyway,
another 25 episodes at least.
Yes, no end in sight.
What was the middle one again?
The Flying Crown.
Flying Crown. Okay. So obviously we'll talk to the bar owners ahead of time. Probably put something like a flat fee down at each place. We're going to obviously want music set up at all three of those places, but also, along the way, as we plan out an official route between these three bars for the pub crawl. And I also want each bar has its own bar game.
Okay.
Drinking game.
For sure.
Let's see. The Crooked Stool, that feels like that needs to be something like a beer pong kind of game, or like quarters. Something where we make use of the slants
Absolutely.
that goes on
no,
there.
Yeah, you play quarters in the Crooked Stool. It's called coppers, but yeah, that's what you what you play at the Crooked Stool. You get like tournament level coppers game going.
A lot of lore fact checking happening tonight.
I was just naming real world, and then we could convert it.
No, you broke it. You broke the game. Exactly.
Yeah, coppers. Let's see. The Liar.
That screams bar trivia to me. I don't know.
You should save that for last then. Get them nice and drunk, and then
Yeah.
they're going to do trivia. The true challenge. The test of minds.
Flying Crown. That's definitely, oh God, what is it called?
Horseshoes, beanbag tossing, darts.
Badminton.
Beanbag tossing, but there's cornhole.
Cornhole? You did, Brian, did you just put cornhole in my beautiful, fantastical fantasy world?
Yeah, it's cornhole, but there's like little crowns on the beanbags.
That's absolutely right. Well, there's crowns on the cornholes. The holes for the corn, there's crowns on them. They're ringed with crowns.
Yeah, but the thing that flies also needs to have crowns on it.
I guess that makes more sense. Fine, Brian, you win. Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you...
No, like the hole is the round thing. That makes sense, but it's called the flying crown, so the crowns have to be on the thing that flies.
Hector the Gatekeeper, do me a favor. As the event organizer for this complex series of interactive bar activities that you're planning out, why don't you roll me a diplomacy check just to get everyone on board and make sure you coordinate all this?
I really hope you do badly.
A bad bar crawl at this point would destroy his rep.
I know.
It would destroy
Like his whole family rolls up, and then he's just like, "Hey, I put on this super shitty event for you."
No, the contractor showed up.
I rolled a 9 on the dice, so that's going to be a dirty 20.
Son of a bitch.
3.5.
What level are y'all?
15.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. God damn. Yeah, no, you kill it. Of course, you kill it. You contact the owners of the Crooked Stool, the Flying Crown, and the Lyre. They are more than happy to help assist you with this. You all agree on flat fee for drinks. Signature cocktails are constructed for this event. They are fully stocked up on gatekeeper grog that they, do your folks a solid and buy from them in bulk when they first arrive. And you get a bunch of bards from the college, top flight entertainment, jugglers, tumblers, musicians to just line the path. The roads between these bars are just lined with performers and live theater, making a lovely sort of like a standing parade between all these locations. And the bar games go great. There's not a single fist fight the entire night.
No, there's a ton of fist
It's
fights.
the gatekeepers.
They're all friendly. Like, people get knocked out and then get picked back up by the person that knocked them out.
Sure.
And bought a drink by the person that knocked them out. But, it's not... It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Fist fights.
Sam,
I
I know it is not my turn, but it needs to be known.
No, what's up?
I 100% Ruger Firehide attend the Everspring pub crawl. 100%.
Oh, for sure.
now.
No, this is this is a huge event. It takes like a week to put together, and everyone's fucking there. The gatekeepers, the druids, the elves, dwarves from Grotmire, fucking Knight Scrivener, college kids from the university. Everyone's at this fucking pub crawl. It's like a
Is
huge thing,
Rilla?
for sure. Yeah, Rilla, do you go to the pub crawl? Everyone's talking about it. Dara wants
I
to go
go.
real fucking bad.
I go. I mostly hang out with the elves and like lurk in a corner with fancy drinks
Sure.
like I always do. But yeah, I go.
By hang out with the elves, do you mean put your beautiful golden cloak down over your head and walk surrounded by a phalanx of elven soldiers?
I mean, no. I mean, I hang out with the elves that are remaining.
You mean the people that worship you
You
and
know.
call you Rilla the Returns? Those people?
Yeah, they're a good shield for me not having to deal with awkward social situations. So yeah, they, surround me most of the nights. But that's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean that's an unintended benefit of leadership is you now have a wall of goons to keep strangers from talking to you, which you should love.
It's like call waiting.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fucking sick pub crawl. Everyone kills it, and your people, Hector, are introduced to the fact that you've lost a goddamn arm, and your parents are obviously devastated by this. They approach you with shock and horror. Your mother sheds some tears. They hold you. And
I do the
your father
same
swears
joke
vengeance.
at all 3 bars, and it gets funnier as the night goes on, but I pretend like I'm shocked every time I see that Hector doesn't have an arm. I'm sure it slays.
Well, actually, I will say that. So first of all, Hector mostly just downplays the severity.
Yeah.
And kind of pushes the negativity to the side and just like switches the subject to talk excitedly about this pub crawl that he's getting set up. On the night of the pub crawl, once Hector is sure that everything is up and running and, operating itself, Hector leaves.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You get this event up and running beautifully. Everyone's fucking there. Shira and the Diviner, some of the conspiracy are wandering through the streets, drinking, having a good time. And you leave this festivity that you've planned behind. What do you go do?
It's been a while. Let me go find my dog.
You find Book chilling out in the Hall of Whispers, and he excitedly jumps all the fuck over you the second he sees you, dancing in circles around you and licking your face. Yeah, that's where we'll leave you for the moment. Very cool. Ruger Firehide.
Okay, so
You're in the city of Everspring. You got a couple weeks. Obviously, you're at this pub crawl, but what else? What other kind of stuff?
well, Sam, I have a list, and
You do have a list,
at the beginning,
and it's a glorious list,
Yes.
and it's a comprehensive
Sure
list.
is.
And let's fucking get
sure
into it.
is. Yeah, at the beginning I had 15 points on the list. It's grown to 16. I will also admit that one of those points is life stuff, and then I have other things in parentheses. So 16 is a disingenuous number. But because it is
Alex Clinky, folks. Alex Clinky.
I'm nothing if not prepared. But I will say I did break it down into 3 categories to maybe make it a little easier. So I have a defense category, a friends category, and a general category. Now I will say 2 of my things have already gotten to. One, I had train with Hektor on my list because I love my friend and I want him to be better on the battlefield because he might save my life.
You two absolutely spent some time in a lovely training montage, going back and forth, getting Hektor more familiar with fighting with one arm. You definitely shed some sweat and a little bit of blood in the practice yard behind the Church of Protos. What else we got?
So the other thing I had on my list that we did was attend the pub crawl. I had a grand old time. I apparently did not make jokes about Hektor's vanishing arm, but I tell somebody that I would love to make that joke, but I just can't find Hektor. I don't know where he is. And I think about...
Yeah, you're 10 shots in, like, I got a fucking hilarious... You don't even
Seriously,
know.
it was going to kill. Everybody would have loved it. And then for a moment, I think about utilizing my tracker skills to go find Hektor, and then I realize, no. So then, yeah, I do that. It's great. I probably spend some time with Hektor's dad, because he's cool, and we're of a similar age, embarrassingly enough, so...
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, you guys get along famously. He's a fair fucking hand at coppers, but you fucking destroy him in cornhole.
Well, yeah, I'm an excellent shot. I mean, come on. So,
Will you please leave my dad's cornhole alone?
Boom.
oh god, come back and make me. Where are you even at right now?
All right, let's hit up defense. What do you got for defense?
All right, so embarrassingly enough, defense is arguably the smallest category because I am a part of the army that has more important people to make some of those decisions. But I would love to spend time training my cavalry unit, my actual army that serves me. I ride a badass spectral ghost horse that, if you subscribe to our Discord, you would certainly know was dead. And is now a ghost. That's my canon. I stick with that. But I train with my cavalry unit and make sure that they get experience not only in open field combat out in front of Everspring, but also do training drills, charging through the city streets and making sure to be able to navigate that territory as well.
For sure. There are absolutely some courtyards and boulevards, like I described earlier, set aside for this specific purpose. And yeah, you have great success. Why don't you roll me a ride check real quick just to abstract this training?
See, I'm very good at that, so I would love to. Wow. Okay. So I rolled an 18 on the dice. My modifier is 15.
God
Yes,
damn.
15. So that is 33.
You have a fucking elite level, like Tokyo Drift street racing crew. Your cavalry is quickly... You have a devoted crew of paladins and fighters who have been trained up before you even got to them, and they are magic in the saddle, every single one of them. Especially to your delight, Bonnie Bolt. Your cohort seems to be very proficient in riding, and you train them up incredibly well in both open field and urban combat. They're hitting corners like you wouldn't.
100%. And a couple of points I'd like to add to that. My beautiful ghost horse Cole naturally has improved speed, and then I did buy those sweet magical horseshoes. So I definitely test not only my cavalry unit but their horses as well. And I heard you when you said that you set aside specific streets for these kind of training purposes, but Old Ruger Firehide is a bit of a wild card. So late in that training, I 100% lead my crew off the beaten path and onto the populated streets. And force people to navigate the situation when there's chaos. If anybody gets hurt, I or some of my Halidins can hopefully heal them. But I don't let them off the hook with just running them through the standard training stuff. I do force them into questionable training situations.
For sure, yeah. You train them expertly in a variety of scenarios, and your horse is lightning fast. You are leaving fucking tracers behind you as you streak through the streets.
So
what else? I
would also like to do a cursory and then recursory and then recursory walk of all of the city walls. I do, even though I know that there are other people assigned to these duties, probably even within my own organization, I go and I, grunt at the poor craftsmanship. I grumble like an old man would about deficiencies that are arguably there. Sure. I really spend some time checking the walls, checking the gates, checking the individuals who are meant to man them. I spend some time taking a little time to talk to any soldier that I come across. Not too long. I'm a busy man. I'm a protagonist, getting the job done.
Sure.
But I do want to spend a little bit of time giving each soldier I pass a little bit of direct attention to hopefully boost morale.
No, that's great. Yeah, surprise inspection shit. I love that. Yeah, you're reviewing the troops. Yeah, after a few days of this, you do get first name basis with a lot of the gate guards.
Thank you. That's the point I want to drive home. Yes, it is
Absolutely.
undue inspections, and sometimes I'm a hard ass, but I do also want to take the time to get to know Jimmy at the gate and make sure that
Sure. Yeah.
How's this wife Lisa and their young kid doing? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, you meet Jimmy, Kyle, Heather, Tara. They're solid people. Yeah, you get on a nice first name basis with the folks watching your ass for sure. And with your paladin abilities, you can check for evil, no problem as well. So no one's.
I try not to be too overt about that, but I'm definitely scanning.
Sure.
I'm scanning a lot.
Repent!
Since I can do it at will, I do it at will.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so I have two other points in the defense category. So along the same lines of doing tours, I also would like to spend some time touring the vault and making sure, though I've done this before, want to, not only secure the vault in every way that Old Ruger Firehide can add to that complex defensive situation, but I also want to take time to appreciate, though I can't read them, the contents therein, and spend a little time reminding myself of what, amongst other things, we are trying to protect here. We're not just trying to protect the people, but we're also trying to protect our history, even if we can't currently interpret it.
You stroll through the vault, picking up on your very astute observations from earlier episodes. Security has indeed been increased. The guards outside now have wands of detect magic, which they use to scan every person that comes in. They take people's weapons before they enter the vault, and they have paladins screening every single person meticulously. You see pockets in some of the turnkeys guild constructing pretty devious traps inside the entrance and adding some pretty sinister booby traps all throughout the vault for anyone that might get inside. And you take into account the endless stretching shelves upon shelves of saved, salvaged, written works that populate this place, being safeguarded by the Order of the Quill. And you also see the arcane artifacts that you and your companions have recovered, except for the knife, which Zurabak has that will not relinquish. And they're all firmly kept in another vault inside the vault that has its own guard.
Yeah, because let's keep everything in one spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the adage, right?
That everyone knows about.
Put all your eggs in one basket. Is that right?
What else?
All right. So my last point, we've touched on it already, but I feel like it's worth drilling into a little bit. I really do want to spend some time focusing on training Bonnie, Bonnie Bolt, my protege,
Yes.
my sidekick, and you know. Her whole motif with the crossbow is dope, but day one I take it away from her and test her on her martial training. You know, on close combat.
Sure.
I definitely
no gaps in the
no,
skill set.
absolutely not. I underline for her the most important rule for her, which is that she must survive. There is no choice. She has no choice. She must survive. So
the faraway look in your eyes when you tell this woman, look, I can't lose another one. Please.
Yeah, no, and you got to understand. Out of one brain, I'm thinking about the deceased daughter that's haunted me for more than a decade, and then it wasn't even all that long ago that Rilla died, and I went through a whole nother freaking spiral of dead pseudo daughter shit. So.
Well, fortunately for you, Bonnie Bolt has a 15 strength, and she gets 3 attacks a turn. So her martial skills develop quickly with the help of your tutelage, and you are able to help her round out her skill set.
I also forced her to spend a little bit of time doing martial training with Hektor. Hektor's been paying visit to the yard to train with me, and I want to make sure that. In the same way that hopefully I get to spend a little time with Yvonne and get to know him a little better, I want to make sure that Hektor and Bonnie, get a little opportunity to spend time together as well. Cool. And training and all that aside, I think over the course of the month, Ruger recognizes just what kind of person Bonnie is and what she's capable of, and the hero nestled inside her. So in addition to all the training stuff, I do take the time to actually, honest to God, get to know her. I'll say Ruger's probably a little standoffish on the front end, a little more, you're going to learn how to fight. Even if you think you don't know kind of stuff. But as we get further into the process, the walls come down a little bit. I invite her out for, drink and whatever. I ash my cigarette into the whiskey shot that I take, let her, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I do want to spend time training and getting to know her as well, so that when shit hits the fan a little down the road, that I have a true companion at my side and not just someone I trained.
Yeah, she's joined with you at the hip the entire time you guys are going through the pub crawl, and she shares some stories with you about her growing up in the Raging Sands as a kid, and trying to go out and spot ruins in the shifting sand dunes, and how her and her best friend found the crossbow that she uses to this day. You two connect on the more rustic upbringing you had far away from the big lights of the big city.
I should also mention that I am earnest in my backstory with her. I know I've been cagey about it in the past in this canon, but at this point, Ruger's made peace with who he is and what's happened to him and how he's overcome it. And on the night that she shares her stories about her past and how she came to, lose someone, I commiserate with my own experiences, and hell, even include the story about Jarmax burning all my belongings at my ex-wife's wedding. So,
yeah, what an episode that was.
Yeah, what a bag.
Cool, man. Well, let's.
I punched a guy
let's
naked.
Leave it there.
I just want to remind the audience.
You used a paladin smite with your bare fucking hand while naked. It was the coolest thing ever. All right, well, let's leave it there for now. We're gonna move on to Rilla, and we'll circle back to everyone before this episode ends. Rilla Longshadow.
Yes.
You're in the city of Everspring. You have a few weeks of downtime. No one is asking you to go on a fucking mission to save the world. And what would you like to do with your free time?
I also have a handful of things to do, and they don't all need to be, some of them can be pretty simple. But I think from a tactical stand base, like there's not really a lot that Rilla can do. But Rilla's always going to want to be alone. So I figure she likely took a lot of flights in her draconic form, searching for weak spots in the walls, areas that seemed less defense. Like anything that looked weak from above was kind of her angle. Just kind of pointing out places where perhaps the guard needs to refocus efforts, or maybe masonry needs to be fixed. Anything she can spot that she thinks can't be seen from the ground, while she does her loner girl thing. So
that's solid. You put your you put your AirPods in and play your emo mix, and as you fly over the town in the form of a fucking dragon. No, that's fucking awesome. As you shed your elven form for the scales and rippling wings of a dragon and take to the air over the city of Everspring, there's one thing in particular that you notice. It takes you a couple days to figure it out. You point out some defenses from your aerial perspective that no one else is able to spot, even with Ruger and Hektor's men working on the walls. But there's one thing in particular that you notice with your vantage point. No one looks up in this town. Your shadow flits over the people walking around, and no one is looking up, and no one is aiming any weapons up. And you realize that if anyone comes flying over this city, they're going to be fucked. So that's one thing you realize, is that attacks from above are going to leave this place pretty vulnerable.
So with that in mind, I start training my elven archers, and that's going to be what they do from here on out, is they are sky patrol. They are in the highest towers, and they are keeping an eye out, and they are on watch, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, your elven archers break into small squads and set up what do you call them? Like watch posts. Like they set up little forts on top of some of the taller buildings in town, and set up a lovely screen where no matter where you are in the city, you're not out of bowshot of at least a couple fucking elven archers. They are well distributed and keeping an eye on the sky. Good shit.
It's actually kind of perfect, since elves need less sleep, as we often talk about.
There are now elven crow's nests sprinkled all about the city, as the walls are reinforced with gatekeeper barbarians, and cavalry units are racing through the streets. What else you got, Rilla?
I've got some interpersonal stuff. I have like 3 or 4 things I want to do. I don't know if I'm going to do them all right now. I think maybe the easiest one is, Rilla's died, and Rilla is aware that there is I would think with cutting a knife, like with what we're planning to do, I think Rilla's accepted the fact that she might be facing the end of her life again, except without being brought back this time. So what she really wants to do, is kind of make sure that Dara's gonna be okay if she's not around anymore. So it's time to share the final little bit of, parental knowledge I have, which is our dad's secret recipe for an acorn cake. I make it for her birthday every year. I've never let her help me because it's special and secret. But she's almost grown now, and it's time to pass that on. So I'm gonna do that.
That's lovely. Yeah, in a tender moment between running drills and distributing your forces, your sky patrols, you find a nice quiet afternoon in the new elven community of Lakeside, right next to Lake Daynum. And you find Dara and pass down this well-guarded family recipe. She is surprised at first that you're sharing it, but wants you to get into it and start, kneading the dough and, following the various steps of crafting it. You're like two kids again. You're giggling, throwing, flour, and it is a lovely moment of as close to normalcy as you can get in these very trying times. It's a lovely afternoon.
Yeah, and I think I kind of stressed to her that I've spent my whole life being her parent, essentially, since our parents have been gone. And I know that's not what our parents wanted our lives to look like. But I couldn't protect myself, but I always tried to protect her. But she has shown herself capable of protecting herself. So I'm going to try and let her lead her own life more going forward. One of those you I'm trying to shift into sister mode instead of mom mode.
As the acorn cakes are cooking in the oven, you deliver that impassioned speech, and your sister looks at you and says, "Well, that's pretty heavy stuff, sis. I appreciate it. Look, after mom and dad died, you were all I had, and I will always treasure everything you did to help keep us alive. And now knowing all the sacrifices that you took on yourself, what those fucking elders did to you, I couldn't ask for a better sister and a better, surrogate mom. And, I appreciate you giving me some space, but I'm always going to need you,
Yeah, but it's been heavy. Like I died for a while. It's got me a little serious,
Yeah, I remember. I was there. I saw that shit happen. I remember.
I'm just gonna say, if shit goes bad again, I know you'll be okay. And that makes me feel better, I don't have to worry so much. So that's all. I'm proud of you. And we can move on from that.
Cool. What else you got?
I need to apologize to Ruger. And I think Rilla's kind of dragging her feet on that one because she doesn't want to have an honest conversation, but I need to apologize to Ruger. So
let's do that. It is the night of the bar crawl.
God, we're drunk.
Yes.
Oh no.
Of course you are.
Oh fuck.
Oh god, that changes the whole game.
It is the night. It's the night of the bar
I overreact.
You are 2.5 bars in. You are walking down a road lined with performers on the way to the Lyre, having just left the Flying Crown. You've both had a fair share of beverages. And Ruger, you and your coterie of people, Captain Kurz, Hector's dad Rufus, a couple Scriveners, bump into Rilla and her circle of elven soldiers.
I say sup, posers.
This is not where I want to.
I know.
There's a crowd of people. This is not where Rilla would have chosen to do this.
You go to the Lyre bar and you find a private, quiet booth away from everyone.
I wait for people to go get drinks until Ruger's alone, and then I awkwardly ask him to step outside with me.
Great.
I overreact.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep up with Rufus all night. I am fucking 10 sheets to the wind right now. I'm just No, I'm just kidding.
Shit.
I'm kidding.
Are you even
you
going to
guys-
remember?
I know, Sam. You picked a
anything that I
terrible
say?
time because canonically this is awful. But Ruger's a seasoned drinker. I don't know. He ashes into his own whiskey. I think he's fine. So, sure. I stumble outside with Rilla into the evening Everspring.
The bracing night air.
I perk right up.
Look, Ruger, I know that you were just trying to help, and that the group dynamic isn't good right now. And that's because I don't, because I'm hurt right now, right? But like, I know you meant well, and I know that I lashed out in a really cruel way because I just wanted you to stop trying to fix Hektor and me. Like this is really hard, man. Like
Rilla.
I'm sorry, okay? I'm just...
Well, Rilla, firstly, thank you. Apology accepted. But just hear me for a minute, Rilla. Look, I know you've been hurting. You've been hurting a long time. Longer than I even known you. I mean, fuck. I watched you die, and before that, I watched you learn who killed your parents. You had a bad lot, Rilla. It's just, you drew the short straw, and unfortunately that includes, in regards to the friends you keep. I'm an unpolished old man. Hektor is a lovable mountain man. And then Zurabak's a swamp monster. We also occasionally hang out with the devil. So, my point being is...
Yeah.
None of us are perfect. You included. We've all said stupid things, done stupid things, and overreacted in stupid ways. Remember when we blew up a fucking volcano, for instance? But life goes on. And the people that truly matter stick it out. So, we may not have been agreeing as much in this last stretch, but I love you. I care about you deeply, and I know that sentiment is reciprocated. And, perhaps we can commemorate this newfound peace amongst coworkers by, you letting me...
Yeah, that was another mean thing I said.
Well,
Shit.
it's
sorry.
honest, though. You did hire me, and I don't remember an end date on that contract, so arguably you might still be kind of my boss. But, let's, bygones be bygones and hatchets buried and such. Let me take you and Dara out for a day on the town. I got too much money burning in my pocket, and last time I sat on this kind of coin, Jarmax came along and set it all ablaze. So perhaps I can do it by spending a little money on you and your sister, and, I don't know, get ice cream, maybe buy her a pretty dress. I don't know, she need books for that fancy college she been attending,
Definitely
Books?
not books.
Buying audio tapes.
God, Ruger, you're so drunk.
Audio
You're
tapes.
so drunk, you forgot.
Magic Mouth audio tapes.
Dara will burn through your money, no problem.
Oh, great. Now, on that account, I'm going to say not tomorrow, because I'm going to need a day of recovery.
Yes, fair. And then Rilla, awkwardly starts to hug Ruger and then stops and, just pats his back.
No. Ruger goes full on dad hug, I even, sniffle a little when I'm hugging her. I try to hide the tears. And then, I arm draped over her shoulder, lead her back into the bar, and buy her a shot I know she won't like.
Wonderful. Excellent. Let's end that there. Let's spin it back up to the top of the order real quick. Everyone get one more round before we end this thing. Zurabak, you are flying through the skies on the back of Queen Letitia's enormous bird as it tears through the ash-strewn winds over the Ashen Islands, which is a bad sentence. I apologize to everyone. There's ashes there. Get it?
I laughed, but I made no comment.
And pretty soon, very swiftly, Zurabak, you and Queen Letitia and Snake are no longer over the roaring waves and pounding surf. You are over swirling sand dunes. Giant dust devils raging across the horizon as far as you can see as you enter the raging sands. Man, sometimes, boy, I get really self-conscious about the incredibly simple names I've given everything in this campaign.
What? The sands are raging, man.
It's not like anyone can remember their other names. No one can write.
That's true.
It's concise.
There's an intellectual apocalypse. Yeah, my
That's
apologies.
a great point. None of us agree what it's called.
What's that shit? I don't know. It's a marsh with briars in it. It's the Briar Marsh.
And there's
Shut
still
up.
some asshole out there that calls it a dessert.
Don't make fun of Evan like
God. So you are soaring through the skies over the raging sands, carried swiftly by the massive wings of Queen Letitia's bird. And you start scanning the surroundings. Why don't you roll me a spot check?
Right, character sheet.
Mm-hmm. You wanted this.
What?
You said you don't want to get your character sheet out, then you looked for a supervillain. So I don't know what you want me to do.
Listen, I'm not a smart man.
No arguments here. God damn it, I walk away from the microphone for 2 seconds.
All right, well, I rolled a 3, so 27.
Yep, that makes sense.
I feel sad I rolled a 3.
Your keen eyes peer through the choking clouds of sand, and the main thing you see are bits of old buildings sticking out of the swirling sand dunes like the bones of long dead beasts. There are columns, there are rooftops, there are crumbled walls that sometimes seem to stretch up like skeletal fingers towards the sky as the dust devils excavate them, only for them to be swallowed whole as you watch by another bank of sand covering them. The environment here is constantly changing, and whoever you're looking for is in a place that apparently isn't being constantly swallowed up. How would you like to go about trying to find your quarry?
All right, land, give me 10 minutes, and we'll have a better idea.
Whatever you say. The enormous bird wings down to the desert sands, shifting beneath your very feet. Snake is released from its talons and hisses antagonistically at the rock, which snaps its beak back in return. And they settle down after a moment. And you have 10 minutes. What are you casting?
Commune with nature.
That would be the thing to cast. You stretch out your druidic senses, connecting with the presence of the green, the wild places, even in this barren landscape, and everything from the scuttling of the scorpions to the slithering of the sidewinder serpents in the raging sands.
Mile per level?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever level they said earlier.
You're level 15, so 15 miles in every direction. God damn.
I get to pick 3 things, so I'm going to go with bodies of water, people, and presence of powerful and natural creatures.
Fan-fucking-tastic. There is a body of water and humanoids and an unnatural creature all about 12 miles to the east. West. All about 12 miles to the west of your current location.
Oh, yep, that way.
If you say so. And you mount back up. Queen Letitia's bird grabs Snake in its talons once more and takes off. And you wing over the desert, banking sharply around these quickly moving dust devils that attempt to knock this massive, majestic bird out of the sky. And after just a few minutes, you see on the horizon a calm patch of sand that is glittering in the sunlight, stretching over the desert, almost as if there are jewels buried in the sand. And as you get closer, that glinting resolves itself into the suits of armor of hundreds of soldiers in a large square camp of military tents, all surrounding a large stone building. It looks like some sort of former temple. It's got like tall marble columns all standing up from a broad, flat marble base, and they're all supporting this roof, leaving the sides open. There are hundreds of soldiers in armor with horses strewn in picket lines. There's latrines dug. It seems like they've been embedded in this camp here for quite some time. And you close in on this arrangement. Queen Letitia says, "That's a lot of soldiers."
Yep. Too bad we can't make them all drink lava.
I mean, if we could move a volcano here. I don't think we have the time.
Not today.
What do you want to do?
Probably should thin the herd.
She boots the sides of her enormous bird, which starts to swoop a bit lower as you approach the outskirts of this camp, and very soon you'll be right on top of it. What do you want to do to thin the herd, Zurabak?
Hold on, I'm looking up a spell.
He's looking up a spell, you guys. I bet it's going to be a real barn burner. It's going to knock my socks right off.
I think Barn Burner is an 8th level druid spell.
Only barn burner at 8th level is Sunburst.
If you have a lit lantern and some hay, it's a cantrip.
There it is. Wow, I guess alphabetical does work. So tell me about the area. Is the sand just not getting in? Is it magically blocked? What are we looking at?
There seems to be this broad path of undisturbed sand that isn't flowing like the sand around you. None of the dust devils close to here are approaching this patch. There's a ring of tall, flowing dunes around it, but this campsite is undisturbed, and you see some dust devils that look like they're bearing straight towards this group of soldiers, and as they get close, they seem to turn away from it.
Well, then we're going to start with Greater Dispel Magic. That seems like magic bullshit. And I guess it's going to be the Area Dispel. Oh, I got to go to Dispel Magic to read. Affects everything in a 20-foot radius. Does there seem to be a focal point of this big rock?
Oh, you are pretty sure that the temple in the center of it probably is pretty important.
Yeah, let's hit that.
Great. What's the range on Greater Dispel Magic?
Exactly like Dispel Magic. So 100 feet plus 10 per level?
Okay. So you can cast this from 250 feet away. which is great. So you bank down sharply from your high elevation and get within 250 feet of this temple, flying right above the camp. When you were on the outskirts, you were kind of hidden by these dust devils in the swirling sand, but you and your sister come barreling in on this enormous bird, immediately throwing a huge shadow over as you wing over this camp, and you launch this spell. Roll me your caster level check as you pull upon your druidic magics to rend whatever magical effects are taking place inside that temple.
Okay. I was reading it. Dice. What level are we? 15?
Yep.
Whatever 17 plus 15 is.
That is 32, which is a very big number. You wave your hand and you feel the threads of some magic be completely shredded as you cast this spell, rending whatever arcane essence is present in that area. And as you do, the dust devils surrounding this camp immediately start to move their way into this group of soldiers. And the sand beneath them starts to ripple, and clouds of dust and sand start to come in immediately, throwing some tents aside. And just as you do this, a unholy barrage of fireballs hurls through the air directly at you. I'm going to need you to roll me 3 different reflex saving throws as an entire army tries to burn you to death.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No,
will it be
and
the
the
last.
range on fireball, as we learned, is insane.
Should I roll them for snake, or is the bird rolling for snake?
The bird's rolling for snake.
What's my reflex save?
Boy, that is a D&D ass sentence if I've ever heard one. Oof.
Dirty 20, 19, and 19.
No, Parker, you're not cheating, are you?
Nope. I rolled a 13, a 12, and a 12.
That's fucking excellent. Fantastic. So you're only going to take half damage from these 3 different fireballs. Let's see.
Snake has evasion.
Gotcha. So you're only going to take, let's see, that's going to be, you're only going to take 47 points of damage as 3 fireballs arc through the air directly at you from 3 separate points in the camp. They detonate with horrific impact, scorching you and this bird and snake. Your Queen Letitia, grunts and banks her enormous bird higher in the air as singed feathers trail out behind you, and she says, now it gets interesting. And you bank into the outer rim of one of these dust devils as you see behind you entire tents and a couple horses, and some of these warriors are just flung hither and yon, some buried by walls of sand, some picked up bodily by these dust devils and thrown all around. And that's where we'll end things with you.
We'll take this time to cast resist energy both on Zurabak and Not Sister.
Yeah, good call. And that's where we'll leave you. Good shit. Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hi, that's me.
You through a fucking bitchin' slammin' incredibly awesome bar crawl. You have sent your men to secure the wall. You are currently chilling with your dog, just having a nice moonlit stroll away from all the hullabaloo that you've helped organize. Was there anything else? Any other scenes you wanted to do, or anything else you wanted to get into?
No, Hector just sits down in the Hall of Whispers with his dog and drinks by himself.
Your Loyal Hound book nuzzles his head into your lap as you, sip from a large bottle with your remaining arm. You can hear faintly through the windows of the Hall of Whispers the revelry going on outside, and a few bright lights and fireworks shine in the night, throwing a melancholy glow over you and your hound as you get a nice buzz on in the peace of the otherwise empty Hall of Whispers. And we'll leave you there. Ruger,
That's me.
let's tick some more stuff off that list, bud. What else we got?
Well, man, I mean, we could rapid fire it. I got friends and I got general, so we're just gonna tackle a few things, see what happens.
What's up?
Well, let me just categorize it as this, right? So Ruger's a realist. Spent a fair amount of his time working on the defense, making sure that he does everything he can in his power to help ensure that when the bad day comes, Everspring is ready for it.
For sure.
But even in the rosiest of situations, things can go badly. And in Ruger's experience, not everybody always makes it. So I do want to spend a fair amount of time touching base with a lot of the various people that have had an impact on my life here. So I would say, one, Ruger spends a fair amount of time, as it allows, at Shira's hospital, using his Paladin Lay on Hands abilities, his Cure Wounds abilities, his ability to remove curses and diseases, to kind of help the people there, but also spend a little bit of time with Shira, and make sure that all is well in her life with the Diviner.
Absolutely. You are becoming known as a fixture in the hospital, of course, and your bedside manner is great. And your paladin skills are fucking invaluable, considering you can literally, wave your hand and cure the sick. With the new refugees in town, there's a bit of a crush. And there's more people than ever that need medical attention, and your help is very much appreciated. And you and Shira, through the rhythm and regularity of this work, start to establish a regular, warmth again after all these years.
Awesome. So, additionally, I'd like to, it's not going to work in all cases, but I'd like to spend some time with each of my beloved protagonist companions. So I did have an idea for each, and obviously one may be difficult. But for Hektor,
let's skip.
Right, that's the obvious issue there.
We don't know if he's gonna survive.
That's the obvious issue. The thing I got at this point is that I think about like 3 weeks in, I start to realize okay, it's been a hot minute since I've seen Zurabak. So then I bust out the old ranger skills and try to track him in the city, and that's when I realized, Zurabak's just gone. He's just...
You track him to a fire dungeon in the desert because he's been captured by an army. Anyway, sorry.
Right.
All right, what you got?
So for Hektor...
There's no capture. There's only death.
And perhaps undeath. You are a druid. For Hektor, in addition to the training in the yard and that kind of stuff, I would love to pop in one day at the Hall of Whispers and see if I can cajole my bestest buddy to give me a tour of the place and show me some of the things he's seen there that he really enjoys. So
Hektor, what's your favorite thing in the Hall of Whispers that you show your friend Ruger?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a great question. Save it for as the dice turn, Sam.
I think there is probably something that is related to the founding of Giant's Rest.
Where it all began.
Absolutely. There is a there's an ancient chisel sized for giant hands that was used in the bards here were able to find out through legend lore and some of their other abilities was wielded by giant hands to carve some of the glyphs that the giants favored in their construction. And that's this enormous spike of metal sized for a giant's hand laying on a lovely velvet pillow.
I whistle, impressed at the size of it.
I activate the magic mouth and watch you listen to the story of the founding of Giants Rest.
Damn, I find it
Judging your reaction.
No, it's great. It's one of the best stories I ever heard, actually. No, seriously, on the inside, Ruger is in full-on dad mode when it comes to Hektor, Rilla, by extension, Dara right now. He's feeling very sentimental about the teenagers that have dragged him all across the Stricken's Miosha, so all that to say, like, I know that this means something to Hektor, so Ruger puts on perhaps maybe a little too obvious of a like a dad way of like, yeah, Dad,
Yeah.
I get it, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, Ruger
Yeah,
for sure is very enthusiastic about his day with Hektor in the Hall of Whispers, to the point to where maybe Hector's like, all right, dude, relax.
Yeah, you match Hector's enthusiasm the whole way, and you learn quite a bit about some history you didn't know anything about from the various artifacts and displays there.
Fantastic. Do you want me to just keep rattling at you with a couple more?
Keep going, man.
All right, so we talked about Hektor. So then the next one, and we already alluded to it earlier, is Rilla. And I had kind of two things. For one, I know she's hard to corral and harder to corral still when she, alone. Because of all of her followers. So maybe one day Ruger heads to the highest tower he can find and tries to flag down the dragon. But I'd love to catch a game of Jenga with her and, kind of reminisce about the old times, the early days,
Rilla, do you allow yourself to be flagged for a game of Jenga?
Yes, I do.
Do you play Jenga as a dragon on a roof?
That sounds fun, but Rilla turns back into Rilla. It's fine.
Yeah, those claws are going to make it hard.
I brought a little picnic dinner. I brought a little, dad dinner. So, I brought sandwiches and chips.
Yeah. You guys enjoy a couple of lovely hoagies and, knock over a Jenga tower a couple times as you reminisce of the old days on the road with the Wagon of Wonders, when times were simpler.
And I get to kind of talking about Dara as well, and trying to kind of. I like to believe that I sniff out this whole shift in Rilla's intentions with Dara, shifting to a more sisterly mode. And so I kind of bring back up. I said, "Hey, you remember when I was drunk at the pub crawl?" I bring up the shopping spree again. Let's take a day. Let's take your sister out for the day, and I'll bankroll, and you guys can take me to all the places you want to go. I'm sure we can go see Charissa Lamstrand and whatever. And
Hell yeah.
all that
Let's just do that right fucking now. How much money you got?
So
Holmes?
Ruger is actually as wealthy as he has probably ever been in this campaign. You gave me 20 grand. I spent 14,000 of it, but I am sitting on 6,100 sweet gold pieces.
Holy shit!
So
Damn.
yeah, I
Sounds like he needs another intervention.
I mean, I got a little coin to spend, and I know, So I feel like,
Oh yeah, y'all paint the town fucking red. Y'all, you two grab Dara and you go shopping, and there is a furious custom going on with all the new folks in town buying and selling shit. There's stuff available in Everspring that's never been available before, and Dara buys an outfit from the gatekeepers, a lovely goat skin cloak with horns on it that she's taken quite a shine to. She buys some lovely vine work boots that the druids make, and you guys fucking tear up the town.
all right, so we got to hit an ice cream place, zero doubt about that.
For sure.
Definitely need to make sure that we get Dara some new school clothes. You always got to stay fresh, so gotta make sure.
With that kind of money, you definitely get some Lamstrand originals. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I also feel like it would not be fair to do a tour of the town without forcing her to go to Evan's Emporium and buy something from him, whatever that is. But
Yeah, she gets a couple fire arrows from Evan.
nice. I also
And is just bummed the fuck out the whole time.
I
I don't like this guy's energy. Yeah, that happens a lot. Sorry.
very nice, very nice. Yeah, I also for sure would insist upon buying them both dinner. And honestly, I for a moment look at Rilla for permission, and then I'm like, nah, you're just a sister. You don't have any say here. And I try to buy Dara an alcoholic beverage of some sort. As like, fuck it. You've earned it. Here's a drink first. And again, something she certainly won't like.
Yeah, you get her a shot of fucking wild turkey.
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah, no, I buy it for the table. Rilla's like, oh God, no way.
Yeah.
Terrible choice. Always terrible choices in drinks. You'll learn that, Dara. They're bad.
Rilla, do you have anything to add? Any other stops that feel appropriate for Dara along the way?
I think Dara for sure buys a skirt that is too short while eyeballing me, for sure. I can see that happening in my head. What are you going to do, sis?
I pretend very much to be interested in this clothing rack over here.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Shopping trip achieved. Nicely done. What else we got? Rapid fire.
So I also have a really good lifelong friend who lives in this city, who I've known for the better part of 20 years, and who I would love to catch a drink with at the Crooked Stool. So I, on one lovely evening, grab Captain Kurz and drag his handsome orc ass out, for a night of drinking as well, and spend some time talking shop with him, and then after that, I kind of brush all that bullshit aside, and kind of at some point, I feel like I need to tell him that thank you for actually convincing me to be a part of this shitty, rainbow-colored, way too loud, way too full city. But I am grateful that he finally convinced me to, lend a hand and be a part of it.
Firehide, I'm as surprised as you that you finally decided to settle down, but I could not be more thrilled. I knew from the moment I saw you that this life was meant for you.
Well, then, Kurz, I guess you know me better than I know myself, buddy. And that kind of scares me a little, so best not to talk about it.
Cheers to that, Firehide.
The only other person I have on my list, and then I have a couple of just super fast things. The only other person I have on my list, a small canonical character that should not be forgotten to the annals of time. I do pay a visit to my... maybe we go there on... Dara needs new shoes. We go see my Faustin, my daughter's husband, before she passed.
Ryan. Yeah, your son-in-law. Faustin.
Who is?
Yeah, we haven't talked
Ryan,
to him
and
in a
he's
while.
a canonical cobbler. He's a shoe guy.
He is indeed.
Dara needs new shoes.
Yeah, Faustin makes the dopest
Right.
kicks. He's got.
I haven't seen him since the wedding.
In all styles and sizes.
Shit got a little hairy. So,
yeah, he apologizes for being kidnapped by gangsters and luring you into a trap.
yeah. Well, things happen, and it's fine. I lived, and I grew and became a better person through that process. So all's well that ends well, right, Faustin? And then, hey, I want to buy her some shoes.
Yeah. They are sick kicks. They are those dope pump up Reeboks. Man, it's a solid fit.
So, all right. Last Ruger note for the night. Between all that, Ruger fills his time with a busy schedule. He stays busy. He stays a productive and contributing part of society. And he does that in a variety of ways. I like to envision.
And always wondering where Zurabak
Right,
went.
no, yeah, it bothers me for like way too long, but also he did that before and a giant walking skeleton came out of it. So, we'll see what happens this time. But I like to believe Ruger, handy dude, spends some time helping the new elven community that's building up on Lakeside, right? These transplants from the forest, so I lend a helping hand there. You can catch Ruger praying at the Church of Protos on Sundays, doing the Lord's work there and making sure to stay connected with, the deity that has guided him here. And then, he does just general life stuff. Spends a little time fishing in Lake Danum. Maybe catches a woodworking class at the College of Everspring. And there is definitely, without a doubt, a day where Ruger catches a very long and very deep nap underneath a tree somewhere off the beaten path in this city. And, just naps the day away, content.
That's where we will leave Ruger Firehide after weeks of furious activity, doing incredibly important upkeep on the infrastructure of the city and his nightly order and his social circle. Ruger finally gets a blessed afternoon to rest his old bones, cocking his hat over his eyes as he reclines in the comfortable trunk of a tree outside of town with the buzzing of crickets lulling you off into sleep.
Ooh, let it be known, I never did go visit the stricken.
Of course not. No one ever needs
Just
to. He's
praise
only...
to him every night.
I mean,
Rilla, do you have anything else you want to get to?
So, I think with the extra religious lean of my new companion and the fact that I've died and like shit's getting very serious, Rilla's been in a somber mood. You could also throw out all the Hektor stuff. Like Rilla's just like very serious and sad and kind of preparing herself. So, in any amount of downtime Rilla has, I think that she is slowly and painstakingly carving her death mask for the tree, and she is making it as accurate as she possibly can, and if she messes up she starts over. She doesn't have crafting abilities, so I'm sure it takes a long time, but she's trying to make it as accurate to her true face as is, no adjustments or transformations, as she possibly can.
Do you show anyone this, or is this a secret project that only
This is
you
a
know
secret
about?
project. Absolutely.
So while you are not patrolling or spending time with your sister, you are in a room silently.
I think she does a lot of it up on top of towers that no one can access.
Sure.
Yeah.
You
Old
are
abandoned rooms or whatever she can find that's kind of nestled in the uppermost parts of the city.
for sure. Yeah. You alight onto the roof of a tall building, not covered by your elven warriors, and you spend your quiet hours painstakingly carving a piece of wood into a likeness of your face to eventually be hung on the monument to the martyr's tree.
And when I'm finally finished with it, I go take it to the diviner, because if there's anyone in this city who I think is going to survive, it's the woman who literally has eyes everywhere. I'm sure she has multiple escape routes already, and I say this to her. But if I don't make it out of this alive, I'm entrusting you to hang this on the tree, or at least get it back to Dara. And I give it to her.
I must say, Rilla, this is quite the responsibility you've foisted on my shoulders. But I understand fully how important this is to you and your legacy. I prefer optimism myself, but I suppose it never hurts to be prepared. I will safeguard this along with my most treasured possessions. Fear not, it shall come to no harm as long as it is in my care.
Appreciate it, Diviner. And, originally I planned on talking to the Stricken, but the more I think about it, I don't think Rilla would believe anything he said anyway. So I don't know that there's much point in that,
For sure. All right.
So I think that's it.
Solid. I think that is a great place to end this episode. And so with Zurabak engaging an entire army in battle, and with Hektor the gatekeeper drinking by himself and petting his dog, with Ruger Firehide taking a nap by a tree, and with Rilla Longshadow handing her death mask to the diviner, that is where we will end.
God, I don't remember how this goes anymore. Welcome to As the Dice Turns, the show after the show, where we ask our beloved adventurers questions. In this episode, I, Rilla Longshadow, am asking my brand new companion, Abigail Ironeye, a question. And the question I have for you is, I want to know more about your visions. When did you start seeing them? How often do you get them? Have they come true in the past? I'm really interested in knowing how that works.
Well, that's a great question. I've been a cleric of the goddess Narrativa for my entire life, and I've worshipped the goddess of stories since my first rational thought, I suppose. My name is Abigail Ironeye. I come from the same dwarven family that runs Grotmire. The Iron Shogun is a cousin of mine. The Ironeye clan is the ruling family of all the dwarves. But I gave up that life of nobility and feasts and wealth and all that to serve Narrativa when I was quite young, still in pigtails, running around my father's study, when I was struck with a vision. As I gazed at my father standing by the hearth, I was a small child at the time, and I didn't realize what was happening to me. The room seemed to go still. Couldn't hear anything. I was like I was... everything was frozen, and I saw this trickle of blood coming out of the corner of my father's mouth. I was terribly upset. I rushed up to him and asked him if he was all right, and everything seemed to start moving again, and he was fine, right as rain. That trickle of blood wasn't even there. He was quite confused at my tears, and I was quite confused myself. Turns out, not a week later, he was drinking at the bar, came afoul of the wrong chap, and, well, the bloke punched him right in the mouth. He came home a little tipsy and bleeding, right where I saw he was bleeding from. And I knew then that I had foreseen it. I had been given this vision by the goddess, and ever since then, every few weeks, I see these visions. Everything goes still, and I get a foretelling of what's going to happen. A bit later, when I swore my vows and became a true member of the clergy of Narrativa, the older priests, they told me that I could see the threads of the tapestry that Narrativa weaves for all of us, that I could see the individual strands and where they would lead. At least that's how they explained it. All I know is that sometimes, in moments of stillness, I can see what is to come. That's how I knew you were going to walk into my church and that we'd walk out together. I'd seen it, been given that vision by Narrativa herself, and wouldn't you know it, you walked in and we walked out together.
That's fascinating. Have you ever tried to change a vision?
Oh, quite often. Especially when I was a wee lass, I'd see something terrible, an injury or some sort of calamity. Nothing bad enough to, bring the whole city down around our ears, but, I'd see someone was going to break their leg or someone was going to start a small fire, and I'd try to stop it whenever I could, but it always seemed to happen anyway. Sometimes it seemed like me trying to intervene would be the thing that caused it to happen in the first place. Now, my visions, unfortunately, are never wrong. I just try to plan accordingly. Most of my magic is used to heal wounds, break curses, dispel enemy magic. I've trained most of my life to try to fix the things after they get broken. Helps to have a bit of foresight with that.
Well, that is absolutely fascinating and a little bit terrifying. Thank you so much for joining me on As the Dice Turns, and that'll do it. Hey, Sharon, you want to get this woman a cup of tea? Something? You'll like Sharon. She gives great advice.
That's funny. I think I may have had a vision of an inscrutable creature holding a cup of tea. Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating 0. We're at Twitter at Challenge_0. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send in any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks, and we're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.